Oh. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Yep. Starting to record. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to part two of my conversation with Laith Marouf, 1+1, your place for convenient truth telling and myth busting. So, Laith, yes, your internet got us cut off. Hopefully, we still have some time for me to ask you then three very quick final questions then, which is, your response on the fact that, there's all this complaining from the right wing and from liberal dingbat comedians about cancel culture. We can't make light of trans people. We can't make light of race. We can't do race jokes. We can't do blah 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 blah. There's too much cancel culture going on. But really, okay, yes, but really, in the end of the day, the real cancel culture is we're not allowed to speak out against against what NATO is doing against Russia. We're not allowed to give a different alternative point of view or even present suppressed truth when it comes to anything and everything when imperialism decides to reign its ugly head. And then when it comes to Israel and Palestine, I didn't agree, I don't support every single comment, every single tweet comrades of mine make, and if some of them are offensive, I'll happily, say to them, you might want to rethink that one. But that's not the issue. That's really not the issue. The issue is that we can't criticize Israel, period. We can't criticize Israel, and we can't even dictate to a gross violator of international law that sorry, this is intolerable. And yes, and like I said, in the previous segments, like Palestinians, there's tone policing, and then it's always, the solution is always dictated to them by the very people which no, we should be the ones dictating what should be the solution is. And so yeah, so your thoughts on the ridiculous complaints about cancel culture, when the very people who are complaining about cancel culture, the National Post, the Toronto Sun, Post Media, all these far-right douchebags, they're the ones trying to cancel you. They're the ones that don't even want, free speech, in which here's a pro-Zionist point of view, and here's an anti-Zionist point of view. Let's have an amicable debate if we're even interested in that, right?
Yeah. So obviously, there is what just happened to me proves that, because they were attacking me for using the word Jewish white supremacist. They're claiming that is a racist or a discriminatory thing to say that there's Jewish white supremacists, that Zionism is Jewish white supremacy. So here is actual Jewish white supremacists calling, others racist for calling them Jewish, okay? And not only that, they want to, as the actual racists, the actual hateful people, to be the arbitrators of what is hate speech, okay?
Yeah.
And they want to be able to spew their hate against Palestinians and also enact their genocide, their actual killing, the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians and looting of the lands. And they don't want any Palestinian to say anything wrong about it, object to it, be angry about it. Look, the children of Jonathan Kay, the children of Erwin Cutler, the children of Housefather can get on a plane from Toronto or Montreal to Tel Aviv, go down to the West Bank, carry a machine gun, go hunting for Arabs, collecting teeth, go into Jerusalem, kick out the Palestinian family of their land, and scream out, if I don't steal it, someone else would, like Yaakov of Brooklyn. Then they can come back on that same plane to the Montreal and walk the streets free. And me as a Palestinian, if I dare call them names that they are, They are supremacists, Jewish white supremacists. Okay.
Mhm.
Then I am hateful and I should be ostracized from all of society. I shouldn't be allowed to even defend myself in the media, not once. Okay? I don't have the right to reply, and I can be virtually ethnically cleansed from virtual reality at direct order of the Canadian and American government in a congressional hearing where they bring in the CEO of Twitter and order them openly to erase me virtually, ethnically cleanse me virtually. This is where we at, and this is an example that shows you actually one thing. Yes, they are vicious, fascist,
But
and they will take the rights of everybody.
it sounds to me if they have their way. So if the CBC and other public broadcasters, state subsidized or state funded broadcasters, if they are forced to adopt this ridiculous definition, the IHRA definition, it's going to be a smokescreen for the fact that they're going to actually cancel the free speech, truth telling, and myth busting of Indigenous people, of queer liberation people, of Black people, because in Canada, the story of anti-Black racism is also heavily suppressed. So first they come for the Palestinian, and then they come for everybody else. Then, right?
Exactly, and this is where, and this is a problem for the Zionists because they know the only way they if you watch that congressional hearing, international parliamentary anti-Semitism, blah 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 blah, led by the daughter of Erwin Cutler, who was a member of the Knesset in Israel. Okay, when you listen to it, they were freaking out. They know that international law and the criminal codes of every country and the constitutions of all these countries in the West, they speak about defensible groups that have to be protected by the law against hate and hate speech. What's a defensible group? It's your religious identity, your ethnic identity, your racial identity, your gender identity. Okay, those are what are protected by law. Nobody can go and just spew out hate against Black people. Okay, that's called hate speech. But political identity is not included in that. So they know that Zionism is a political ideology, like communism, like capitalism, like fascism, like political Islam, that you should have the right to criticize. So how are they going to protect Zionism? They have to change the criminal code of Canada, number one. They have to make an act in Parliament to change the definition of defensible group in the criminal code. But that's not only, because the definition of defensible group is actually in the Constitution of Canada. Okay? So they would have to open up the constitutional amendment. Canada has a problem. Quebec didn't sign the Constitution. The Indigenous people rejected it. It's actually a piece of paper that nobody cares about. You open it right now to add Zionism as a defensible group, you will open Pandora's box. So they know they can't change the law. They have to go around it. And in what they are doing is they're ordering these social media companies and these ministries and this CRTC, the Canadian Radio Television Commission, to not engage a battle in court about this, because they could have put me in court and charged me with hate speech. They know they're going to lose that battle because it's not hate speech to criticize Zionism. Okay? And to go around the law, to surpass the courts and the judicial balance and check, and have these agencies and these private corporations to implement the IHRA and usurp the right of citizens and not even have the ability to appeal that.
Wow, this could very well be in Canada one of the most important free speech fights of our lives. So I hope anyone who watches this, anyone who is involved in Palestine solidarity, they really need to get involved in this. In this case, because if the IHRA definition is allowed to pass, and if Canada does try to do what you've just described, well, it's game over for us because we don't have armies or anything like that. All we have is our speech, our historians, and us trying to push back against colonial narratives. But then I have to ask this, as we draw to a close, what hope is there for the Palestinians, given Jeremy Corbyn was vanquished from the from British politics. He and his people failed to call BS to what was clearly a smear campaign, and they still thought that that Palestinian lives, Palestinian voices, Jewish anti-Zionist voices were expendable. We still have this gross issue of the people who are liberal, progressive, socialist on everything except Palestine. We still have to deal with those people. Of course, there's also the people who are regressive on everything, especially Palestine. Israel is still, displacing Palestinians left, right, and center in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. Even if there was a two-state solution, they still don't want to give up East Jerusalem. Gaza is in its, its 13th year of a cruel, embargo, and then much of the Middle East is throwing Palestine under the bus, and they don't even try to have their bullshit rhetoric about we're against Zionism, Arabs of the world unite. So, what hope is there for? So what hope is there for the Palestinians given all that?
So number one, I will encourage everybody that's watching to please donate. This battle that I'm talking about, we're going to court. CMAC, the Community Media Advocacy Center, has to defend itself right now because they're trying to bankrupt us, and we have to go to court for that file. We have to go to court to guarantee the rights of citizens in Canada to continue to have access to the CRTC to make their opinions and research available in terms of our rights in media and broadcasting. We have battled against defamation and the banning from Twitter. So and this is what the Zionists want to do. They want either bankrupt you, trying to fight them in courts, and or get you to give up and let them have the right to defame you unopposed. And so I choose the path of fighting them, and CMAX is choosing the path to fight them, and we will take this to court and make sure at least either we show that the courts don't matter here in Canada and there's no justice, and or we uphold the rights of everybody. In terms of Palestinians, by the way, I lost electricity here in Lebanon. We don't have 24-hour electricity thanks to the Zionists and the Americans and imperialism. In terms of Palestinians, I'm very hopeful, actually. I have so much hope today. The liberation of Palestine today is closer than any day before. And I can tell you something. On the ground, Palestinians will liberate themselves by themselves with the support of other resistance groups in Western Asia. Unfortunately, the opinions of Canadians not only don't matter for the liberation of Palestine, they don't matter even for their own rights. Canadians are not able to achieve having the Canadian government stopping the ongoing genocide of the Indigenous people around them. They can't get the Canadian government to stop killing Black youth in the streets. They can't get the Canadian government to give them more housing and more health care and give them a bigger part of the loot of colonialism. Okay.
Yes.
They don't have democracy, the Canadian public. And they don't have freedom of speech or media. as this debacle showed, the media across Canada are Jewish white supremacist and or supporter of Jewish white supremacy openly. Okay. So what does this mean to me as a Palestinian? We will continue to battle the Zionist enemy on every battlefield, including in Canada and all these. The Canadian citizens, I have less hope for them, honestly, or Western citizens in Europe and the United States. I have less hope for them for liberation than I have for Palestine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Because we're ready. We've been fighting for 100 years. Show me today if there's even an anti-war movement. I mean, I was part of the organizing for the 2003 anti-Iraq war demonstrations, where we brought out 300,000 people in the streets of Montreal. It was the largest in the history up until that point in the history of Canada, the largest demonstration. I don't think they can bring out 3,000 people in the streets of Montreal to stop the war.
I think we're lucky anywhere if we get 200 people. And then in the United States, when I ask people what's it going to take for the people power movements there to, show solidarity to Native Americans, the responses I get is, well, there's too few Native Americans, or such and such used to own my people as slaves, so therefore persona non grata. Like, what?
Yeah. Like, just to end it on last note, because I'm also running out of battery here now on the computer. Look, the battle that this craziness that they put on me is also beyond just also Palestine, and this is the issue. The Zionists know that the end of the colony, their project is coming, as you can see it, the sunset. But also those who control the other Western colonies in Canada and the United States and Australia and New Zealand, they also see the end of white supremacy there. The future, their population, the white birth rate in Canada and the United States and so forth is minus. The birth rate in their homelands in Europe is in the minus. The indigenous populations have the highest birth rate in all these former colonies, okay? And the only immigration into Canada, US, blah, 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 is from Africa, Asia, and Latin America, meaning you already have 49% of the population in the US non-white. You have 30% non-white in Canada, meaning the future is clear. Pro-nationalism on the model of Bolivia, where indigenous people are the only ones that have a special status, and they are given land back, and all others are on the same playing field, and that means an end of white privilege. And they know that this is coming in Canada. They know this is coming in the US. This is why they're crazy about critical race theory and the great replacement theory.
I was just about to say, it does kind of sound like the great replacement theory.
Yes, yes, but this is the thing is, this is the true trajectory of history, and they have no ability to stop the going of time. Have no fear for atomic energy, for none of them can stop the time. The great prophet, the great poet Bob Marley said, that's for Israel. Its weapons are not going to matter. The nuclear weapons. It's also for those in these colonies, and that's ultimately what we're fighting for. We're fighting to end the.
Yeah. Uh-oh. I think we've just lost Laith. Laith still there? Uh-oh. Okay, folks, I think we just lost Laith. I think his battery ran out in Lebanon. So, fantastic, fantastic. Okay, yeah.
Sorry about that. So I was saying our battle, anybody who wants to end racism is really working against colonialism. There's no racism without colonialism. There will be me blackness or whiteness, which are manufactured in the cauldron of colonialism. Okay, there's Bantu, Zulu, there's German, Germanic, Latino. There's no white or black. That's all racism that we know is a product of colonialism. So our project to end racism means ending colonialism, meaning ending white privilege in these colonies after 600 years. They see that our enemies. They know that. And this is why they're having a freak out, not only the Zionists in Palestine, but as their former ancestors, the white supremacists in North America, are freaking out. Their end of their rule is coming. And we have to be joyous, but we have to be preparing ourselves by creating structures like the people in Bolivia did.
Yeah.
We have to create a political party and media that are pushing for pro-nationalism, where our multitude brings freedom to humanity.
Okay. Last question. We're going to have to do the Bernard Pivot, James Lipton questionnaire another time. But then very last question then isn't the only way for the Middle East to break themselves from the constant Western meddling, divide and conquer, and have very much a united region the way us Pan-Africanists imagine a United States of Africa against white supremacy and Pan-European empires and their friends of Turtle Island. But isn't the only way that that the Middle East will rid itself of colonialism and be a united people is if we have not Arab nationalism or a Shia nationalism of an Ayatollah Khomeini of Iran, or the grotesque Wahhabism of a Saudi Arabia, which is the United States of Middle East, along with its Gulf partners. They're like Canada and Britain. So isn't the only way the Middle East will finally be united is if you have a Pan Middle Easternist project in which Arabs, Turks, Kurds, Shia, Sunnis, Christians, Jewish people, the secular and even the secular and even the non-secular realize that we're all Middle Easternist, and we should have a bilingual, region that accommodates Kurds, that accommodates Yazidis, that accommodates Druze. Isn't that? And if it's secular, and if it's feminist, isn't that the only way that the region will be united and can finally push back against global white supremacy, colonialism, neocolonialism, and ultra-Zionism, which is a partner in crime to the powers to be?
Yeah, look, Pan-Arabism is a bad translation from the 50s, and it probably worked against in the West for that project, because it really was Pan-Arabic. It was Pan-Arabic, not Pan-Arab, right? And
yes.
So what does this mean? It's like saying Francophonie, okay? It's a grouping around a language, right? And Arabic was the most spoken language in those areas, so it wasn't a racialized situation. So that we can criticize a project that failed under the weight of colonialism and imperialism that stopped it, but it was a beautiful project. Try to unify the Arabic countries, Arabic-speaking countries. Again, I'm against the idea that there's a race or ethnicity. There is no Arab race or ethnicity. There's a cultural, linguistic group. All my identity comes from my language, the music I listen to, the food I eat. That's what makes me. There's no blood quantum in me that makes me something.
Yes.
So on that point, maybe right now, the immediate thing that needs to happen is natural geographic, regional conglomerations, okay? And what we call the Arabic-speaking world right now is one geographic region. A few parts of it are occupied by Turkey, blah, 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 you know, what the French gave to Syria. But it's mostly, it's clear. The sea from here, the mountain from there, the end of the Sahara from there. It's one natural geographic area, and the cultures inside it, no matter what people speak, Amazigh, Arabic, Armenian, Kurdish, blah, 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 they're eating the same foods, they're listening to the same language things, and they have the same weather and the same topography, so they have the same cultural, you know, expressions. So it should be going further and including Iranian, maybe there should be an Indo-Iranian unification. That's another block. A third block would be the Turkic, that goes to Central Asia and all the way to Turkey. And when I say Semitic, Hamitic unification, that will include Ethiopia. Okay, it will include Somalia and so forth. This is all one geographic region, and then you unify the Zulu and Bantu parts of Africa. Okay, so now we've got bigger. Okay, obviously I am a unificationist and I always work. I am for Palestinian liberation. I am for Syrian unification. I am for Arabic unification. I'm for Semitic Hamitic unification. I'm for Dar es Salaam project. Dar es Salaam means the house of peace. Okay, which is also the name of the capital of Mozambique. But we can call a federation of Dar es Salaam and bring in people together. Ultimately, none of these things will happen if we don't have resistance on the ground, and if we don't defeat militarily the colonialists that have controlled most of humanity for the last 600 to 900 years. So much of it, it will still be imagination until we create facts on the ground.
Here's hoping the both of us live to see the day where that happens, unless climate change or accidental nuclear war, eliminates us all. But here's hoping that it'll happen someday, at least, if not in our lifetimes, definitely, our kids' lifetimes and whatnots. But anywho, we are joined on this edition of 1+1 with Laith Marouf. Laith, make sure to send me the website where people can donate to you and your colleagues' legal defenses. I'll make sure to link to people to your own websites if people are interested, and I'm also going to link to some favorite interviews of mine that people should check out. With Margaret Kimberly recently interviewed you. She's a friend of mine, and of course, Dr. Mara Osman. Best of luck to everything. We'll be in touch, and keep fighting the good fight, and power to the people. Death to ultra-Zionism and white supremacy.
You have a great day. Thank you very much for having me. Bye-bye.
It was an honor.